Hello and welcome to the GCN Tech Show.
Great news, I've been allowed back.
Well, it's just there was no one else, I'm afraid.
And this week, we're discussing the lightest titanium frame in the world with its rim brakes and 20-year-old bottom bracket. And if this means the entire bike industry has gone full circle.
Have we reached peak bike? We've also got some brand new Speedy Boy tyres from Pirelli, their new P0 RS with inner tubes. Full circle. We've also got 3 new bike launches as well. We have a new Van Rysel, we have a new Ridley and a new Canyon as well.
Plus, of course, we've got comments of the week and the bike vault. Let's do it. Okay, right, Si, this week we are going to discuss if the bike industry has gone full circle and, as you said, have we finally reached peak bike? Now, the reason I wanted to discuss this and what got me thinking about it was the launch of a few new bikes that we've seen. Firstly, being the Ridley, which some people are saying is just a hardtail mountain bike with drop handlebars, although it's a gravel bike. And then also the release of the new Litespeed titanium frame, which is said to be the lightest titanium frame in the world. It's called the Litespeed Ghisallo, and it uses rim brakes.
Yeah, well, let's leave the Ridley aside for one moment, because I'm not for 1 second suggesting that is peak bike.
okay.
No disrespect to the Ridley, but that's a whole different talking point.
But it got us talking about it.
But the Ghisallo, which is very cool, right? So, correct me if I'm wrong, but the story behind this is that it seemed like Litespeed discovered a bunch of bottom bracket clusters in a drawer where they said they've long since destroyed the tooling that made these bottom bracket clusters, but decided to weld them up into frames that, lo and behold, are the lightest titanium frames they've ever made, I think, which have rim brakes.
Look, I get it. I think that's super cool. If I'm honest, I feel the story of the 20 bottom brackets being left is a little bit too romantic for me. I feel like...
So this is the thing, right? So there are so many amazing new bikes being launched all the time. I think we've gotten used to this incredible pace of new technology. And it's slowed up, I think, for a fraction, because people are having to work harder for the gains, aren't they? We heard this in Ollie's video about the new Rysel RCR-F, about just how much effort they went to make it faster. And so actually, there's another way of looking at it, which is when Litespeed come in with this, new retro bike, and everyone goes, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, performance-wise, you wouldn't buy it, right?
No.
But actually, it's got a story, and I think for the 20 people that are lucky enough to buy one of those vintage bottom bracket clusters, welded it up into a modern frame, I think they're going to be really happy with their bikes.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the thing that would perhaps annoy me is I'm anticipating some people are going to go, oh, this is the next trend of the bike industry. Everyone's going to go back to rim brakes to make the bikes lighter. We're going to have skinnier tyres again. And that would really annoy me because I don't think this Litespeed example is the direction of the industry. I think this is just an exception. I think the direction that it's going with all the trends and the tech is the right way, but I think we'll always see like outliers come along the way.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's trying to do a U-turn on this.
No, I don't think so. I mean, those bikes exist, right? Which is great because some people really love rim brake bikes and the fact that they're, I don't know, whatever, half a kilo lighter and things.
At least in some cases.
Yeah, but I guess from my perspective, this slowing of innovation at the top end. No, maybe not, that's wrong, not slowing of innovation, but the slowing of the gains. Yeah, exactly. It does make you feel like we're sort of reaching a plateau. I suspect at some point, someone will invent some new technology that will send us shooting back off again.
I just don't know what it is.
No, I mean, you might not be the man to invent it. But when you think about the trajectory of bikes as a whole, I suspect probably at the beginning of the 80s, everyone was like, oh, you know what? Like, I'm really wondering whether we've reached the peak of steel tubing. They're all looking exactly the same.
Yeah.
All the tubes come from, 3 different manufacturers, Columbus, Reynolds, True Temper at the time.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you had this bonkers arms race where everyone discovered carbon fibre, aluminium, aerodynamics,
lycra.
So maybe we're just at that momentary pause before something bonkers happens.
So are you saying we've had it too good for the last 40? I can't believe I'm saying 40 years.
I mean, we have had it good for 4 years.
Yeah.
I feel like we've enjoyed quite a lot, but I also feel like now maybe we're expecting a bit too much because of, I don't want to blame social media because that's everything's the fault of social media. But I do feel like, we haven't had a new Shimano Dura-Ace group set for like 2 years. I want another one. So the current one's amazing, but it's time for another one, surely.
It's dated now.
Well, do you know what I mean, though? It does feel like, what is Shimano doing? It's been 2 years.
New phones are like every year, are they not?
Exactly, yeah.
So, okay, this discussion around peak bike, do you think we've reached peak bike? If you have, when do you think that was? Or do you think peak bike is still to come? Because it's going to vary for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah, so I definitely don't think we have reached peak bike. I feel like we're nearing a plateau of bikes. And I think people are trying to innovate in crazy ways, like, dare I say, that new Ridley gravel bike. Which seems pretty niche to my mind. They've said it's a bike that people are already making. They're just doing a proper version, as in people are making in their own sheds and garages.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe that it is quite niche.
So one of the things actually that is now sprung to mind is this Litespeed, for example, as well as using rim brakes, it now means it's got quick release instead of through axles. Now, when was the last time you rode a bike that used rim brakes and quick releases? Because in my mind, it's quite a different riding experience.
It is. I mean, it's amazing still, isn't it?
It is good. Yeah.
The last bike I rode was Dan Lloyd's Cervelo, which was incredible. 6.8 kilos, super aero, super fast. It was absolutely mint. It was no wonder Dan was able to finish 165th in the Tour de France. Yeah, because that bike was like being back from the future. The one thing I did feel, actually, and it sounds stupid now, but when I was putting the wheels in, I was like, well, there's not much holding them in, is there? I've never had a problem with quick release before, but when you're used to through axles and you go back and you're like, oh.
Yeah. So I think, so the last rim brake quick release bike you've ridden is arguably one of the last generation where it's been refined to the max. But if you go back a few, or maybe even not, like Tour de France they were raced by, I think there is a significant difference between what modern bikes have. The whole thing just feels a little bit disconnected from the road. Everything's flexing a little bit more. And I think compare that to modern standards, even when you go down the price point, it does feel like you've got a lot more of a robust bike and everything's a little bit more dialed in.
I think you're right, yeah. I think if you look back a few years, you always see the improvement.
Yeah.
Maybe we're all just too close to it at the moment.
Yeah. So just going back to this titanium bike, we haven't spoken about the weight, having said that it's the new lightest.
No, go on, how much do you weigh?
So it's 871 grams in a size medium, which is actually 77 grams lighter than the Litespeed Colder Rice frame, which they said about 3 weeks ago was the new lightest titanium frame in the world. So it's surpassed it in a space of a few weeks.
Wowzers. I mean, that is pretty impressive for a Tyre frame. If you're talking about pure performance, it's 300 grams heavier than the lightest carbon frames from mainstream brands?
Yeah. But saying about that, interestingly, I think I've got the weight here. For a medium Ghisallo build, they say in a top spec, obviously, you can get it down to 6.5 kilograms.
That's quite light.
That is quite light.
That is quite light, isn't it?
Would you like to know the price you have to pay for this kind of tech?
Go on.
$16,799. Yes.
Wow.
So let's discuss this in a real broad subject then. Do we think we are going to see the bike industry continue on its path, or do we think we'll see any sort of steps of dialing the tech back a little bit and utilising
really expensive rim brake bikes? Is that what you're saying? I think there's probably not much of a market for $16,000 rim brake bikes.
Well, also, go on, sorry.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, the fact that Litespeed are making 20, I reckon that's probably that market happy now, isn't it?
There might be maybe a couple of people that are like, God, I wish I got one of those. Don't think there's going to be many.
No, to be honest with you, I don't think we are going to see anyone rowing back from tech. I think what we're seeing is a consolidation of things into like amazing all-round bikes, like aero gravel bikes that actually are fantastic all-road bikes.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to be the new thing. I mean, it's not new, right? But that, to my mind,
trend.
Exactly. It'd be like, I can buy this bike and it will do gravel and it will do road and it's absolutely brilliant. Because that's what the tech ultimately has allowed us to do, isn't it? Wider tyres, disc brakes, wider gear ranges. It's made bikes better for riding.
It has for sure. Yeah, I'm in complete agreement, actually. I want to see everything continue on its path. There is one thing I would like to see addressed, though, and that is the fact that it does seem like prices are still slightly out of control for what I think most people would like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know how to fix that.
Well, yeah, that's probably a topic for another day, isn't it?
Well, there you go.
The one thing you would say, probably, is that there aren't that many people in the bike industry getting rich, are there? There's a few brands that make stuff that are doing pretty well.
Yeah, I think that's
but the lion's share of brands
are struggling.
And they were struggling before COVID too, right? It's not just down to...
I think this is it's not just an industry-specific problem, is what I'm trying to say. There's a problem with prices across the board, but somehow it would be nice to see things be a bit more affordable, wouldn't it?
Totally, yeah.
There you go. Get involved in the comment section down below. Please do share your thoughts on the subject, and as always, the best comments, we'll pick them out for next week. You
could probably get a really good second-hand titanium frame with rim brakes for not much money. Just saying.
Yeah, good point. I like that. Right, it's now time for Hot and Spicy Tech, and we are going to kick things off with a new tyre from Pirelli. It's the P0 Race RS inner tube type tyre. This is Pirelli's answer to performance tyres, as the name suggests, that you can put inner tubes in. And it's their all-out performance version, and like, jokes aside, I know I say I'm always a tubeless fanboy, but do you know what? More recently, I have been running inner tubes and inner tube tyres on some of my bikes in secret, and I'm kind of enjoying it.
Wow.
I know.
Why?
It was just the ease of maintenance at times.
Really?
Do you know what? I was in a rush, tubeless annoyed me on one day, and I was like, right, I'm using some inner tubes going forwards for a bit. So yeah, there you go.
There you go. To be fair, I'm a tubeless obsessive when it comes to mountain bikes, gravel bikes, cyclocross bikes, but road, take it or leave it. So these are really exciting. The one thing you need to bear in mind, though, is that you cannot use them on hookless rims.
That is a really good point.
Really, really important point. You cannot use them on hookless rims, but if you have hooked rims, which I suspect most people do still, they're ridiculously fast, aren't they?
Now, in terms of the tech and some of the difference here, well, visually, you've got the same tread pattern as what you've got in the tubeless version. You've got the same rubber compound, which is the Smart Evo 2. And Pirelli say this tyre is a perfect match for their TPU Smart Tube Evo to give you what they say is one of the lightest options that Pirelli can offer. Tyre's 55 grams lighter than the tubeless versions, as we've just discussed. The reason for it is it helps to make maintenance a little bit easier using this type of setup. It's made in their Italy factory and uses FSC certified rubber. You've got 3 different tyre sizes to choose from. You've got a 26, 28, a 30. 3 different colours to choose from as well. Black, classic sidewall, which is basically brown, and retro, which is that really nice light tan colour.
I like that colour.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Now, can we talk about the speed of these tyres?
I'd love to.
Because they are ridiculously fast. So we released a video at the weekend where we tried to illustrate the difference in speed between these tyres.
I think we did illustrate it.
We did illustrate it, yeah. So I couldn't quite believe it, but Pirelli supplied us with the figures for how big a difference these tyres make in their lab, so testing on a drum. And then we extrapolated that out in terms of a time difference. If we all rode up a climb at the same power output, so taking into account system mass, including bikes, everything else, we rode up a climb, and the difference was 1 minute and 10 seconds, wasn't it, in 8 kilometres between the fastest tyres to the entry-level Pirelli tyres.
Well, this is an interesting point you say there, because I saw a couple of comments from people saying, well, surely the inner tubes make a big difference to the setup. And it's like, yes, they do. Hence why on the sort of lower price point tyre, we had the cheapest inner tube, and the middle price one, we had a middle price inner tube, which was like offering some performance advantages. And the most expensive setup, well, we had the most expensive inner tube, which offers more of a performance advantage. So it's just, you've got this as a system rather than trying to, in isolation, look at the tyre and then forget that there's a difference in inner tubes.
Yeah, I think it's a fair call, isn't it, to say that if you're going to have an entry-level tyre, you're probably not going to invest in a super light, more expensive TPU inner tube. So I think it was appropriate, wasn't it? There were 1 or 2 people complaining that this was not peer-reviewed science. I guess that's something we should address too, which is that it's not intended to be peer-reviewed science. Pirelli have spent gazillions doing the testing in their lab. What we were doing is just trying to illustrate what the difference is out on the road. So there was a list of potential limitations to our tests. But we didn't say that it was, scientifically robust in any way. So hopefully you don't feel shortchanged by that. It was just like, whoa, look at the difference.
Also, we were trying to have fun at the same time as doing it and be like, look, this is a great way to race uphill against your mates.
So he said, you're the only one who had fun, mate, because you were the one who won. For me and Ollie, we were just going flat out. You were there winking at the camera. Hey guys, look at me, I'm training for Unbound.
Oh,
Should we move on to some more tech?
Maybe we should have a little disclaimer in some of our videos, where they read the disclaimer really, really quickly.
Yeah, good point, actually. Well, how might that go? Like,
this test is intended as illustrative only and is not scientifically peer-reviewed.
Yes.
Whatever's, yeah.
For entertainment purposes only.
There you go. Right, okay, what's next, Alex?
Okay, next. Right, I was in two minds about talking about this, but do you know what? I'm just going to go for it anyway.
All right.
So this landed in my inbox.
It's not pedaling efficiency, is it?
No, we'll get to that. I'll save that for later on the show. We'll get to that in a minute. So it landed in my inbox, and it's for the information about a patent called IPA Tech, which is
like IPAs.
Is said to offer spoke tension adjustability on the fly. So stick with me here.
Okay.
We need some background information first, some simple understanding of what's going on.
Just before you start, we said, have we reached peak bike? Clearly no. This is the development we all
Adjustable
were
spoke tension, right. So you pump your tyres up on your bike, the pressure within the tyre exerts a force onto the wheel rim. That force, in turn, is translated through to the spokes, and generally speaking, the higher your tyre pressure, the greater the impact it has on your spoke tension, broadly speaking, lowering the spoke tension down. This magical technology is said to enable you to pressurize a chamber inside the wheel rim to counteract the effect of the tyre pressure having on spoke tension, and therefore provide you with a wheel that is more stable. Do you know what? Now that I read this out, you're starting to understand why I was in two minds of whether to add it in, because I was like, is this an April Fool's joke or is it incredible?
I mean, to my mind, it does sound a bit crap. And even if it's, whether it's April Fool's or not, I don't think I've ever had a problem with spoke tension. And in fact,
no,
arguably, softer spoke tension is preferable in many situations. I'm not a massive fan for like cranked up spoke tension and your spokes soldered together.
So you definitely don't want this technology. You're like, oh, get the spokes real flexy.
If it's a thing, I will reserve judgment until I've ridden it. But yeah.
Well, look, I went for it. So there we go. You can let us know in the comments section down below if you believe this is a thing.
The thing I'm starting to get my head around is how if you inflate one chamber around the outside of the wheel rim, your inner tube or tyre, how inflating a second one on the inside counteracts that, and it doesn't just make the whole situation of spoke tension worse, because you've now got double air chambers squeezing it.
Now you say it like that, yeah, I'm kind of on board with I'm kind of on board with what you're saying.
Oh well. That'd be interesting.
Anyway,
watch that space.
Yeah, nonetheless. Next up in Hot Tech, we have a raft of new bikes to discuss. And let's kick things off with the Rysel RCR-F. Now, actually, we had an incredible video over on GCN about this, where Ollie documented all the process from like the design, like all the different stages, the pro riders getting involved with the bike. And I've got to say, it was incredible to see. But we should probably run through some of the sort of key features of the bike here, because if you want to know everything about it, we should just go and check that video out, shouldn't you?
Yeah. It's probably the why, isn't it, as opposed to the what of that video. But yeah, so what we got written down. So a big part of it was making the bike stiffer, or even stiffer, for the likes of Sam Bennett.
Yeah.
So the big sprinters out there. Plus, it was also about making it more aerodynamic. And it's interesting hearing the challenge of basically making it aero, but also stiff enough. Because if you want it to be sort of invisible to the wind, you need to add in quite a bit of carbon fibre to keep it stiff. So the weight is a little bit higher, isn't it, than the RCR?
Yeah.
By design. So it's 7.5 kilos, which is still pretty svelte for a
like a modern,
bike.
full aero bike.
So, with disc brakes.
With disc brakes. So you saying about the design, actually, this was one of the elements that they really worked on, which was utilising the changes in regulations from the UCI. And it's also been co-designed with aerodynamic expert Swiss side, which I think is important to
me. It is, yeah. I think Ollie's got a follow-up video, hasn't he, where he interviewed JP Ballard about the aerodynamic wand.
Oh, yeah.
Which is cool, the wake the wake measuring
I'm
device.
trying to think what it's called.
Can you remember what it's called?
Aero rake.
Aero rake. Thank you,
Isaac knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Thanks, Isaac. Do you want to just do the rest?
He spent a long time editing that video. The aero rake, which gives you an accurate representation of what's going on in the wake of whatever you're measuring.
It's really cool, actually. So
super cool.
One of the interesting sort of stats I've got here is the Decathlon Agidua Le Mondial riders. So they're using this frame predominantly on flat stages, and what they're saying is their sort of break point between choosing between the bikes is for sub 1,500 meters ascent per 100 kilometers of distance covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And gradients as well. I think 6% gradient was measured, or mentioned rather. It's cool. And as Sam Bennett said, it looks fast even when it's standing still, which is very important. I think it's a good looking bike, that one.
Is that a design sort of characteristic people work towards? Make it look fast while it's standing still?
Oh, 100% it is.
I guess.
I mean, it totally is, isn't it? Like, would you buy a Ferrari that
looks slow?
Look like a Toyota Prius? You know, they're supposed to be ridiculously aerodynamic, Priuses, but you want it to look like a Ferrari.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the most important thing, isn't it?
If anyone does have a Toyota Prius, we're really sorry. We're not dissing your car.
No, but it doesn't look like a Ferrari, does it?
I'm kidding.
Okay, moving on.
Right.
What's next?
Did you you wanted to talk about a new Canyon bike?
The new Canyon Exceed, yeah. So I want to talk about this in light of that new Ridley, which is called the Ignite GTX. So the Ridley is a gravel bike that looks exactly like a mountain bike, because it is, but they've stuck drop handlebars on there, special like flare drop handlebars. Now, it's not for me, I'm not going to lie, but Ridley have said that they've seen a trend with lots of people out creating mountain bikes with drop handlebars. And there are a fair few, right? Mm-hmm. People doing bonkers ultra races like the Tour Divide or the Atlas Mountain Race, those kind of things where I guess those endurance nutcases, for want of a better word.
That was a good turn of phrase.
Want to have multiple different hand positions. And that's totally cool. So Ridley have created that bike, which, you know,
ticks that
good
box.
luck to them, yeah. But then almost in the same week, Canyon launched a new version of their Exceed, which has long been their cross-country hardtail.
So you're telling me it's a mountain bike?
So this is a full-blown mountain bike, but they've kind of changed it from being an out-and-out cross-country race bike to being more of a kind of bike-packing-y type bike.
Okay.
And I've got to say, to my mind, flat handlebars are great. I don't know why there's this stigma attached to flat handlebars. If you're going to have a mountain bike with drop handlebars, you might prefer having a mountain bike with flat handlebars. And if you're worried they're too wide, just cut them down. If you want another hand position, get a pair of bar ends. You could probably find them in your local bike jumble sale for 50p.
Bar ends, what a throwback.
Yeah, amazing. So anyway, I wanted to mention the new Exceed because it looks fantastic. They're also, mountain bikes are really good value, typically, because you save a lot of money when you don't have the integrated brakes and shifters. Like you save a truckload of money.
Yeah.
And then so they're just great bikes, aren't they, basically?
Well, I wasn't expecting a mountain bike to appear on the show this week, but thanks very much.
That's what happens when you bring me in, Alex. Sorry.
Right, actually, taking a departure away from mountain bikes, I wanted to talk about an interesting direction that a custom frame builder has gone. So this is Sturdy Cycles. They're a local company to me and us in Bath, and I've been and filmed a few videos there before. But for a custom frame builder, they're now starting to offer stock sizes, which I'm going to say is an unusual turn of events, you might say.
Well, yeah, I mean, is it?
Well, yeah, because I feel like traditionally manufacturers or people would go, I don't want the stock size, I want the full custom option. But I guess the idea behind this is to allow people to have access to the kind of like unique 3D printing technology that Sturdy Cycles offers, but without having like a long lead time, and hopefully trying to help reduce the cost of this as well by limiting the number of variables and options.
I was going to say, I would have thought in the case of Sturdy, they've got this really unique offering that has a premium price tag.
Understandably.
And if you don't need a custom bike, which, let's face it,
no,
most people don't need custom because off the peg fits perfectly.
Yeah.
I think it's great. What is the price?
Okay, so a frame kit, £4,800, including VAT, and then there's a full build option, £9,900, and that's
arguably still quite premium.
Still premium.
Still premium.
But so that is built, like we were saying, with premium components. You've got like an Envy build kit on here. You've got carbon wheels included. So I think it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
And
it's a beautiful looking bike.
Basically got a bike, like a gravel bike, with all of the trademarks of ticking the boxes to enable you to make it racy or go on big weekend adventures.
I'm right thinking as well that the price of titanium has gone through the roof, hasn't it?
I think it has, yeah.
I think you are paying a lot for raw material when you're buying titanium bikes these days, aren't you?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest contributing factors to it. So, okay, right. More new bikes to discuss. We've already spoken about it briefly in the show this week. The Ridley Ignite GTX.
Yeah, we've done that one.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Right.
What about the pedals?
Right, next. Oh, we're going to talk about shoes and pedals.
Pedaling efficiency. This is my favourite topic. Alex, what can you teach us about the importance of pedals when it comes to efficiency? How might we measure it?
I feel like this is a loaded question.
Yeah, maybe we need something to measure it at the back wheel and then something to measure it at the cranks, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I'm the first to laugh at anybody for making a mistake. So when you make a mistake yourself, you got to embrace it.
To be fair, and you truly did last week. You had a right chuckle in the office.
Yeah. Also, actually, I thought it was hilarious that people probably thought that Ollie and I were actually banished from the tech show and that you'd actually come in to fill in for us because it was that bad.
No, okay. Well,
Right, let's stop joking. Okay, we're talking about the new shoe and pedal combo, which we actually saw a little while ago because it was spy-shotted at some pro races.
Well, it was spy-shotted and then subsequently banned, wasn't it, by the UCI? And whichever team was running it had an emergency one morning before the stage when they all had to run around and borrow shoes and pedals from rival teams in order to be able to take the start.
Not the easiest thing to sort of get hold of last minute.
No, not really. And also a wonder that we haven't seen more pedal innovation over the last 40 years. But these look cool, don't they?
They do.
This is, so it's Ekoï who have brought out the pedal. They stress that it's an open design, so anyone can design shoes for this new cleat interface system.
Okay, I like that.
Which requires a completely different sole on the shoe because the cleat is really cool, really minimalist, but it's basically two cleats, isn't it? Really far apart to allow for this huge platform on the pedal, which is, I forget what the press release said. It was many times bigger than a Look or a Shimano
I've
pedal.
got the information here somewhere. Let me try to find it. So, here we go. So there's the stack height is just 8mm, and the contact
That's like
patch,
5 mil lower than a Shimano one, isn't it?
The contact patch, 1,500mm squared compared to 705 for some of the more popular designs that are out there.
There you go.
Let me just read this first bit. The PW8 breaks the mold and is a revolutionary pedal and shoe concept designed to deliver unmatched performance in terms of efficiency, lightness and aerodynamics, and comfort, which I think was the perfect time for me to just remain silent.
Just bow out.
Yeah.
Well, lightness you can't argue with. So 105 grams per pedal, they're saying, and the cleat is just 15 grams. So all in, you're looking at 225 grams a set, which is significantly lighter than I think anything else out there, pretty much. They said it's more aero as well, 11% drag reduction. So again, looking at it, you can't argue with that too much. The one thing that we've been puzzling over is how on earth it blooming well works. But Alex has cracked it, we think.
Well, we think I have. So neither of us could see any actual moving parts on either the cleat or the pedal. So my theory, someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, I'm sure you will anyway, is that because you've got this really wide, long pedal base, I reckon the movement enabling the cleat to clip into the pedal is coming from the pedal body itself flexing like a giant leaf spring.
I mean, if that isn't the case, I can see an opening for a new pedal innovation, which is based on exactly that, because that would be beautifully simple. I think it's cool. I'm really excited by this, actually. Not that I have any issue at all with pedals currently, but it looks like a genuine innovation, potentially. So, hopefully get to try those at some point soon.
Right, next time in Hot Tech, we've got some information and news from Orbea. So, they are celebrating 40 years of sponsoring the Lotto bike pro race team.
Not quite, isn't it? The Lotto team is celebrating 40 years of Lotto sponsoring them, and Orbea are now the bike partner, and they're helping in the celebration, aren't they?
We'll get there in the end.
Yep.
Right, so we've got all the different Mayo custom bikes here, which I think is super cool. And also, at the next coming races, Tour of Flanders, the team are going to be using this incredible jersey design, which is, I want to say, is like a really cool patchwork quilt design, but I feel like that undersells it.
Yes, I think it probably does. But no, the jersey does look mega.
Okay, right.
I've never wanted a patchwork quilt for cycling before, but no, I think that's super cool.
Off the cuff, which of these designs would your sort of preference be to go to?
Oh, mate, you can't ask me off the cuff to choose a bicycle.
Choose one quick. 5, 4, 3.
Middle top rope.
Middle top rope.
I just really like the fluoro seat post. I think that's cool.
I was going to say the very last on the list with the orange seat post and the yellowy, flowery looking bit.
It looks like something that Connor Dunn would ride.
Maybe that's one Connor designed. We shouldn't joke, but
spicy lime, metallic spark silver. No, those are proper cool, aren't they?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Right, finally in Hot Tech, 2 polite reminders. We have our core competition running for you to win a Core 2 sensor. We'll have the link in the description down below. And then also to remind everybody that we have our weekly Zwift club rides still going.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah, so if you want to get involved, join the GCN Zwift Club, and they are every Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. UK time.
Great stuff. That was a lot of Hot Tech, wasn't it?
That was. Right.
Who said we've reached peak bike?
More Hot Tech next week.
Get in the bin.
Right, it's now time for comments of the week. This is the part of the show where we pick out the comments that you've been leaving underneath our videos from last week.
Okie doke. Should we start with last week's show?
Yeah, I think we should. It was an interesting one.
Well, I mean, it was, wasn't it? I guess we should start by saying thank you, actually.
Yeah.
We apologised for dropping the ball on a video, and it was really heartwarming, wasn't it, to see that you guys almost entirely said it was okay. We forgive you, mistakes happen. And they do, because ultimately we do try our best.
We try our best, and I think the first thing I want to say is, I'm only human. Like, we all make mistakes, and I think it's important to remain, like, humble about it and go, do you know what, I made a mistake, own up to it, and just be like, we'll do our best in the future.
Well, that's it, yeah. So anyway, thank you very much. Mama Mooney said, honestly, showing this amount of integrity and owning up mistakes makes me trust you guys all the more. So thank you for that. We are open and honest.
Yeah. Mezzo Max XL says, handled gracefully. Thank you for admitting mistakes. Makes you relatable. And thanks for the content through all the years. Well, thanks very much.
Yeah. We genuinely, we never ever hide anything from anyone. Anyway, I know it's hard to, because people feel like GCN is this big organisation and stuff, but it's really not.
It's just we're a bunch of people that love riding our bikes.
I mean, that sounds really naff, but it is true,
It's true.
basically. Apart from Dan, who doesn't love riding bikes, but he loves bikes just as much as anyone.
Yeah, loves beer as well.
Yeah, I came in this morning, right? So it was a beautiful, beautiful morning here in the UK when I commuted into work. Slight segue. And it was one of those mornings where I was like, I knew it was cold. I'd walked the dog, so I knew it was cold. But I realised as I was running late, I haven't got any gloves, but it'll be fine. It's only 40 minutes. Anyway, I got in with the coldest hands ever. I couldn't do my trousers up because they were so cold. Not that anyone noticed, thankfully. And I got in and down like, I had a ride like that last year where I got really cold hands. So what? Your one ride last year, Dan, you got cold hands. No wonder he hasn't done it since.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe that put him off.
Exactly.
Dan's can relate to every single person's story on a bike. It's just the time frame of when he relates back to it goes back a little while.
Exactly.
Right, also, I hope everybody's been watching them, but we had 3 really cool Hot Tech videos out from the Taipei Bike Show, and I've picked out a handful of comments from underneath them. And Christian with the first comment that says, L2 should sponsor a World Tour team. They say surely it'll make Shimano, SRAM and Campagnolo sweat a bit. More competition is bad news for the established brands, but good news for us as consumers.
Yeah, that's a good shout, isn't it?
You go with the next one if you like.
It's quite a high barrier, isn't it, to enter a World Tour team in terms of performance as well as budget. But
a big time.
Yeah, but that'd be super interesting. God, I've got so many little segues. This one's going to get cut as well. But one of my abiding memories, right, from working at GCN, it was the day I spent in the neutral service car with Mavic at the Tour de France, right. So I ride bikes and they are flawless for me. And I couldn't believe it. The first climb of the day, we were in the Alps. The first climb of the day, the amount of people, pros, that were dropping back because they had mechanical problems. And the difference between an ex-pro tootling around at whatever, 350 watts versus a pro in the Tour de France doing 450 watts. Like, literally, like, the best mechanics on the planet were servicing these bikes the night before, and they would come back going like, oh my God, I've got a problem with this, I've got a problem with that. And I'm like, oh, geez, yeah. It does make you realise.
They're the bits I think are really cool because they're what you don't always get to see on like the live TV coverage of races, like the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yeah.
I think we could do more of that stuff, actually.
I mean, it's hard, isn't it? It's all about TV rights, isn't it? But if you could see what the neutral service car sees and hear what it hears as well.
Yeah.
Pelotons are noisy and very disgusting places. Right, anyway, let's move on to something you can actually watch. What do we have? James HMD said, I don't know whether it's because being at a bike show for Ollie must be like being a kid in a sweet shop, but he always seems unusually excited in these videos. Maybe it's the mineral waters.
Yeah.
He does, doesn't he? He loves a bit of tech.
He does. He was so excited about going to the bike show.
Oh, and Taipei in Taiwan is cool.
Yeah.
It's such a treat to go out there. It's absolutely amazing.
DPR8TER, that's probably supposed to say something, said they'd like to see GCN build up a bike with exclusively lesser-known brands, cheaper components, possibly a frame too, and compare it to what's available from the big brands. This is a subject we kind of discussed before, because I would quite like to do a budget build based off of all these lesser-known brands, and it would be interesting to see like at what kind of price point it all comes in.
Yeah, I basically GMBN did that, didn't they?
Yeah, this was what inspired us to
the mountain bike that they built looked amazing. I actually don't know how it rode.
No, I've got no idea, but it looked the part, that's for sure.
There is a video on GMBN where I think they tell us exactly how it rode. Why haven't you watched it?
Why haven't you watched it?
It's not cross country, mate. That's
yeah.
Cool. And then WOT Expat said, pretty impressive that Ollie has a 400 watt FTP. Well, that's quite impressive.
We need to give some context to this. This is from the cranks that Ollie found at the bike show, where they claimed to give an increase of 50% to your power. So perhaps that's where he's getting his FTP estimate from.
That's pretty punchy. You should try it for Unbound. Then Dylan Johnson will be scared of you, won't he?
Yeah, watch out, Dylan. I'll get them amazing cranks that double my power. No, 50%, sorry.
Yeah.
Right, and then a comment from underneath our KOM video.
Oh, I'd probably better read this one out, because I chose it. Alex van der Poel laying down a mega watt kick to drop Simon. There you go.
What about the rest of it?
I think that's all we need. Alex van der Poel. How is the training going, Alex? How long did you ride for yesterday?
8 hours, I think it was 46 minutes. Not that I was watching the time countdown at the end.
Can you believe what he's doing on a Wednesday? The rest of us are here working. Alex is doing 8 hours, 46 minutes working.
Oh, God, yeah. And a Thursday, I'm trying to do that as well.
And why did you not do 15 minutes more to get to 9 hours?
Well, two reasons. One, I was obviously tired by that point. Two, I actually find it really funny to almost reach a milestone on your ride but stop just before, because it really annoys lots of people. It's like if I was to do a 100-mile ride, I would happily stop on 99. And people are like, oh, why would you not just do the extra mile? I'm like, nah, I'm not interested.
I love it.
But mostly because I was very tired. Okay, it's now time for the Bike Vault, which is the part of the show where you upload pictures of your bike and then we judge them to be either nice or super nice. If they're super nice, the bell gets rung. Would you like to take charge of this today?
Yeah, well, actually, I can ring it gently then.
Yeah. Right, first up this week is Moody. They've even given us an explanation of how to say it. With, what bike is this actually?
It's Specialised, isn't it?
An alloy crux.
That looks cool,
thanks
doesn't
to
it?
GCN for all the gravel bikers road bike content. Helps them to make a decision.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I like that.
I got a second wheel set to make switch between tarmac and rough stuff easier. That is a cool looking bike.
Yeah,
I'm not
full
going to lie.
stealth mode.
Yeah, I love the matching bottles. I think they particularly pop with the stealth frame.
Really, really grinds your gears when Connor uses mismatched bottles, isn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, like I don't mind if someone has mismatched bottles because that's what they've got. But Connor
when it's Connor, and you should have everything dialed in just right.
Connor does not want for water bottles.
No.
Terrible. This is a super nice for me. Am I missing anything?
No.
Oh, look at the valves.
Valves are in the right place.
And they're coloured to match the water
slightly
bottles.
Off-centered. Look, come on, super nice that. God, you're really gentle.
I was, yeah. Honestly, it's like...
GC next with a specialised S-Works SL7. Look at that paint job. Also, just absolutely disregarding the respect of that sign.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Very cool. That's a mega looking bike, isn't it?
That is blooming cool.
I mean, there's a lot going on with that background, Alex, with the hedge.
Yeah. And
that sort of like yellow chevron on the road.
Yeah. That's just to clarify there's no parking there.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm seeing here is a bike that looks absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
In a fairly average photo. How do you judge that?
Well, I think between us we need to decide if we can forgive all of the errors and just go on the bike purely. I'm happy to do that.
I'm happy to do that.
Go on, give that a little delicate go.
There you go. Super nice.
Sam Worsley next, and they say their mum and dad constantly argue about whose bike is the coolest.
That's a flipping cool parental argument to have, isn't it? Amazing.
Not like my mum and dad constantly argue about who should do the washing up.
So here...
Which way round do you think
So the
they are?
mum has a Cannondale Super 6 Evo.
Yeah.
And their dad has a Specialised Tarmac. Please, can you help us settle this argument of whose bike is the coolest?
Mum's.
Oh, really?
I think that's the coolest, yeah. Although that said, I love that generation of Dura-Ace.
Yeah, that is very cool, Dura-Ace. Well, no, but Mum has the lightest group set in the world ever. That's SRAM Red 22, rim brake mechanical. A lot to be said for that. I tell you what, actually, I don't think I can choose them apart.
No, you can, come on.
Because that Specialised, like those wheels, I was very partial to a Mavic Cosmic Carbon. My last race bike was an S-Works Tarmac with Mavic Cosmic Carbon wheels.
So it's got a soft spot.
I've got with that Dura-Ace group set. I had my penultimate year, Alex, as opposed to my last year, which was Campagnolo.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say the mum's bike is like the coolest.
I'm not taking this decision lightly.
I could tell.
The bike I would have is the S-Works. The bike I think is the coolest is the Cannondale.
Right, I'm glad we could agree on that. Good. Okay, moving swiftly on. Neil says, we can't all afford a super bike, so here is my budget roadie, B-Twin Tri-Band 3, and Ritchie DS Pro wheels, Continental Sport tyres, big Shimano cassette for better climbing, bling gold chain and colour-coded upgraded jockey wheels, bike £50, wheels £20, plus a chain cassette jockey wheels, £45. Absolute bargain. I'm in agreement.
Yeah, that's super cool, isn't it? I'm loving the gold chain and the coloured jockey wheels that match with the water bottle cages. And the stem.
I got one. I'm going to be picky.
Go
on. This bike has a steerer tube extender on, which, if that fits your position, okay, but a part which I would ordinarily say, please remove from any bike.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
But no, I think this is super cool. I mean, the photo, the composition of the photo...
Could be better.
Could be a little bit better, but the valves are aligned, Alex. The cranks are in the right place. The gear's in the right place. I think we should definitely give a shout out for the fact that it is a more of a budget road bike, isn't it?
I'm all for it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
This is what road cycling is also about. It's about getting a mega road bike, not spending a fortune on it, and you can go have exactly the same adventure on that as you could do with pretty much any bike.
Yeah. Yeah, all right, super nice.
Super nice.
Very cool.
Okay, right, let's make this the last one for this week's show. It's from Ryan and it is a Ribble, which is from 2014. It's a Gran Fondo. And this is taken just after a short training ride.
Nice. My first thought is that is very nice era of Campagnolo.
Yeah, one of my favourites.
Yeah, that is super cool. Campagnolo, Athena, that one.
Hold your horses. Is that a Shimano rear derailleur?
No, I don't think it is it?
I think it is.
Is it? Is it? I don't think it is, mate, but anyway.
Okay.
Oh no, you're right. With a Shimano, God, that's a bit geeky, isn't it? A Shimano 105 mechanical rear derailleur, brackets, it somehow works. There you go.
Yeah, okay.
That's one to tell Calvin from Park Tool, isn't it? To add to his encyclopedic knowledge.
His mind would just be blown.
Yeah, you can use 11-speed Campagnolo Athena with Shimano 105.
No stress. It's the sort of stuff I just know, tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
I want a super nice. I like the bike. It's well presented and it's just a cool bike.
It is a super cool bike. Yeah, I love it.
Give that a little go.
Is that all of them being super nices then? We didn't give a super nice to either mum or dad.
Oh, no, but we said the mum's bike was the coolest.
Yeah, we could go back there and have another think if you like.
No, we can't spend another 5 minutes of the show on that. Right, that's it. The bike vault has drawn to a close, which means this week's show has drawn to a close. Si, thanks very much for joining me this week.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Hopefully, once Ollie has learned his lessons, we can have him back on the show as well.
Yes, I'm sure once he's done his penance.
Right, from our main talking point, please do get involved in the comments section down below. Share your thoughts on not only the latest titanium frame, but also the direction of the bike industry in general.
Plateau bike or peak bike? You decide.
I like that. We're out of here. See you. Bye.